Hello Virgo, thank you for tuning into your general read. For the main read, I'm using the Modern Spellcaster's Tarot by Melanie Marquis, illustrated by Scott Murphy. And for the supportive oracle cards, the Angel Answers Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Already shuffled? Let's see what we got. Virgo. Alright, again, we need to put stuff up here. Okay, alright. I'm just seeing spots open and I want to stick cards there, but I'm getting like, don't put them there. So, that being said, there is an overall energy here. It's the Hermit card. And a lot of times I'm viewing this card like searching for answers. And I feel like this is you looking for a direction to take. You're looking for an answer on what to do. So the answer you're looking for is like what new direction to start going in, which way to go. And I'm seeing some cards down here that supports that. So let's see what we got going in. Going into this time frame, you have the Star card and the Eight of Pentacles. So you're very hopeful, but you're already working on something. But it is the Eight of Pentacles. Well, while that is the continuation of effort, I'm actually getting a lot of the Eight feeling in the sense of like almost to the completion level. You're looking to see where this is going to go next. And I feel like while you're very hopeful, you're feeling good, you are already looking at it like where am I going to go, what's going to happen next when this part is finished out. I feel like you're already in that mindset going into this. Like you're finishing this part up, but it's not like the situation is over, but what's next? Like where am I going next? Which again gives me that Hermit feeling like what's the new direction? Where do I need to start next? Like where do I need to pick up this next piece of the puzzle? Okay. Now, in your environment, I feel like we should talk about this first. You have you have two Pentacle cards, the Three of Pentacles, which is a learning card, teaching card. I feel like it's more about teaching you. All right, so this information coming to you, somebody showing you this next step. And whoever's showing you this next step, they seem to be staying with you and helping you through it, correct? Okay. So whoever this is hitting for you, somebody's showing you what to do, they're giving you direction, and they're sticking with you and helping you through it. So that's I feel like this is the energy we're using on the supportive side for this reading. I feel like it's just good to know, because I don't feel like it's directly like doing it for you. I feel like it's just like showing direction and supporting you through it. But I feel like you're the main one doing what you need to do. I don't feel like somebody's like babysitting you in any sense. I just feel like somebody's saying this is what needs to be done and they're showing you how to do it, and then you have them as like a support when needed. But I feel like you kind of when you need it type thing. I don't know. Like I don't feel like they're constantly in there, but I feel like they're supporting you when needed. I think that makes sense. Now, while this came to a fruition, you have the Knight of Swords, you have the Two of Swords, and then you have the Knight of Wands, which ironically in this deck, the Wands and Swords flip-flop from what I'm used to them meaning to what they mean in this deck. So it's kind of like saying everything's in the same boat. Action and communication are like putting you... Communication and action seem to be putting you in the middle of what needs to be done, and you're trying to like sort out, because I feel like things are moving fast, and I feel like there's kind of a little bit of a hustle bustle going on, and I feel like you might have a little bit of a conflict like deciding how to move forward, because things seem to be pushing forward kind of quickly, and you're pushing forward like how you're pushing forward, how you're used to going forward, as opposed to this like new direction that somebody's showing you. I just feel like it's hard to get on point with it, just because it kind of moves what you're used to a bit. Like it's kind of a forced change that you're trying to force yourself into. I feel like there's a degree of error going on here for a little while, just because there's a certain way you're used to doing things, and this is just you're falling back into that just out of natural how you do things. I don't feel like it's a bad thing. I just feel like it's like your pattern just kind of takes over, and then you realize you can't do that same thing, so you're kind of having to readjust as you go. Okay. Now, as we keep going, I'm just seeing this as a part, like, I feel like it's just acknowledging that it's going to take you a moment to reset and realign to get going forward, but I feel like you're on board with it, so I don't feel like it's a problem. I just feel like it's taking you a moment to grasp a hold of it due to past patterns. Because there's a change here that's not what you're used to. And I'm noticing all these cards come up after this with how you're feeling. I almost feel like it's kind of like advice more than anything else, which is usual for these cards. You've got choose a new direction, recovery, and the last one there is forgiveness. So all three of these together, I feel like this is kind of like a trio of what's happening all at once. Like you're choosing this new direction. The choose the new direction, I feel like you're on board with it for the most part. Like most of you, I feel like you're on board with. Some of you might be having a little bit more hard time with it, but I still feel like you're kind of like seeing it like there's just, it has to happen type way. And the recovery and forgiveness, I feel like the recovery and forgiveness go hand in hand because you're changing a method that you're used to doing and moving it into this new way of doing things, and it's hard for you it's just I feel like you're a creature of habit. At least Virgos I'm used to are, and it's just kind of like you're very dedicated and dependable, and one of the reasons you're so dependable is because you're dependable to do things the same way over and over when necessary, and now that you have to change a process you've done many times over and over again, it's just that natural pattern keeps kicking in and you're having a hard time adjusting it. So you're recovering from the old pattern, moving it into the new, but you have to have a lot of forgiveness for yourself because this is part of what makes you great in this situation is that you're so dependable. So I wouldn't beat myself up about it because I feel like you're slowly getting it on track the way you need to. I feel like you might not be happy that it's just not changing like that because I feel like you are mentally ready to go forward. It's just taking a minute for those patterns to kind of break down, and it's going to take a minute. And I want to say that I see that the Emperor is in your favor in the future. I feel like this is you, because once you have reestablished these patterns and you've gotten them down, even if it's like one of these things where you have to write down a list of all the changes so you can like check off the changes and make sure you've done them the whole way through, you're the Emperor in the future. You have this all down. Like, you're going to have it all down again, and I feel like you're going to move forward successfully. I don't feel like it's going to hold you back. I just feel like you got to get it down again. And once you have it established and you're comfortable with the pattern again, it'll just take a life of its own like the last one did, and you'll be right in it to win it, I suppose. I didn't really want to say it that way, but that's what it feels like. So you're just going to get right back into the groove, and it'll be fine. I kind of feel like this whole reading is about just giving yourself a break, because the reason you're having a hard time moving into this new way of doing things is the same as the reason you're in it to begin with, because you're very dependable. And the reason you're so dependable is because when you have a certain pattern down, you stick to it almost like a second nature thing. So it's not something you can just flip-flop real quick. It's going to take you a minute to readjust it. And I feel like you might be a little hard on yourself because you're not easily able to move in that new direction, but that's part of the gift of you. You're dependable because you do keep patterns, and you are dependable. Like, that's just, I hope this makes sense. Like, this is just kind of like your asset. It's kind of like your gift of how you move. Things don't change easily. That's why you're so dependable, because it's going to keep going the same way. I hope that makes sense. You're obviously going to edit this the way you want to, and you're going to, once you have it down, it'll continue on that way, but it's not going to be just like a quick change. It's going to take you a moment to readjust. So I feel like you might be a little hard on yourself because you're on board with the change, but it's not easy for you to just easily get into the groove, and you're kind of having a little hard time with that, but it's going to go forward fine. You'll be fine in the long run. It's just going to take you a minute to adjust. Are we good? Okay. I feel like this isn't too bad. I feel like this is pretty much a good reading. It's just saying, you know, you're adjusting. You're optimistic. It feels like you're optimistic through the whole thing. It's just you're a little hard on yourself. That's the whole thing. I feel like this is good, though. Good. And And you have that support, so that's always good. So and it's earth support, which is good for a Virgo too. If you really connect with Virgo energy, especially, this is going to go well for you. I have met Virgos and other earth signs that don't really connect with earth energy, which I found was very awesome to know. Because depending on you, maybe you connect with something else. Maybe you're more of a fire person in an earth situation, which then you might want to check out some of the other signs like Aries or Leo or possibly Sagittarius. They might hit for you better. But the whole point is in this reading, though, that not to beat yourself up, because whatever you're having here, whatever's giving you a hard time with the change, you are going to be on board with it soon enough. And I feel like you're just going to be looked at just as favorably as you were before, because I feel like people know you're dependable and you get those roots in there and you stick with them. And that's what this situation calls for. All right, I'm going to stop yammering on about it. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, go ahead, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.